in control. You said that.
Let me
You said that.
somebody who knows me for real, right? For real enough.
Man, I'm gonna tell you going to help.
Do you think I'm like from
What you got?
Hey.
The video ain't really the issue. The video being posted up on social media is the issue. If someone would have sent her that video privately, she and I would have had one conversation about it, and it would have been.
The moment that shocked the world has finally arrived. In a courtroom full of tension, Shekinah stands up, ready to expose a side of Tiny's family that no one could have expected. What if everything we thought we knew about Tiny's world was a facade? What if the people closest to her had been keeping secrets so massive, it could tear everything apart? Tiny, who had always been seen as a symbol of success and strength, now finds herself at the center of a whirlwind of betrayal, heartbreak, and scandal. It all began as a personal betrayal, but what Shay is revealing goes much deeper than anyone ever could have imagined. Tiny's family, once known for its tight-knit bond, is now unraveling from within. The truth, far uglier than anyone anticipated, is about to be revealed, and it's all playing out in front of millions. But what drove Shekinah to expose these secrets? Was it a desperate need for attention, or was something darker brewing beneath the surface? Inside the courtroom, the air is thick with anticipation. Every person, from the judge to the jury, is on edge, waiting for what Shekinah will say next. Tiny, sitting on one side of the room, tries to maintain her composure. Her back is straight, but her eyes betray her internal turmoil. Every thought seems to clash. Every heartbeat is loud in her ears. Across from her sits Shekinah, calm and collected. Her posture is relaxed, but her eyes are cold, filled with something that seems almost calculating. The two women, once like family,
It just put a lot of back and forth, a lot more strain on just what we had going on. Afraid of that. And it did put some strain on our relationship. If you see, and we was about to divorce here and there, and breaking up here and there.
now face each other on opposite sides of a battle that is about to change both their lives forever. Tiny never expected to be in this position. She had always trusted Shekinah, believing her to be family in every sense of the word. Their bond had been built on years of shared laughter, hardships, and trust. But now, that bond felt like nothing more than a fragile thread, ready to snap. For weeks, Tiny had tried to ignore the rumors, the whispers. She had brushed them off, convincing herself it was all smoke and mirrors. But today, in this courtroom, she knew the truth was about to come crashing down. Shekinah had decided this moment was the time to reveal what had been hidden for so long. And though Tiny had braced herself for this day, she wasn't prepared for what was about to unfold. The judge's gavel struck with a sharp thud, and the room fell silent. All eyes were on Shekinah, the tension almost palpable. The collective breath of the crowd was held in anticipation. The defense attorney stood, calling Shekinah to the stand. With calm determination, she walked towards the witness chair, her steps deliberate, confident. There was no sign of nervousness, no hesitation in her movements. She had clearly made peace with what she was about to do. As she sat down, her eyes flickered briefly in Tiny's direction, a moment of contact that sent a chill through Tiny's spine. This wasn't anger. It wasn't regret. It was determination. Shekinah was ready to expose everything. The defense attorney wasted no time. "Miss Shekinah," he began, his voice steady but carrying the weight of the moment. "You've been asked to testify today regarding certain events within Tiny's family. We understand you have knowledge of sensitive information. Can you please tell us what you know?" Shekinah nodded, her gaze fixed on the attorney's face. "What I know," she said, her voice steady but with an undercurrent of something deeper, something darker, "is that Tiny's family isn't what it appears to be." Tiny's heart skipped a beat. The room seemed to tighten around her. The air grew heavier, suffocating her. This was real. This wasn't just idle gossip. Shekinah was revealing something far more significant than anyone could have predicted. "The things that happen behind closed doors," Shekinah continued, now looking directly at Tiny. "The secrets they keep, they are worse than you think. There's a reason Tiny has been so guarded about her family, and there's a reason why no one really gets to know the truth. But today, the world will." Tiny's hands clenched into fists. Anger, confusion, and disbelief were building inside her. Was this really happening? Was Shekinah really about to tear apart everything Tiny had worked so hard to protect? The defense attorney pressed further, asking, "Can you be more specific, Miss Shekinah? What exactly are these secrets?" Leaning forward slightly, Shekinah's eyes narrowed. Tiny's family isn't just filled with dysfunction. It's riddled with betrayal, greed, lies. She paused again, letting her words sink in. There's something that's been hidden for years, a betrayal that cuts deeper than anyone realizes. Tiny's own sister has been secretly working with outsiders to profit off her name. And it goes even deeper. There are deals, partnerships, things Tiny had no idea about, things she would have never agreed to had she known. Tiny's stomach turned. Her own sister? How could this be happening? The accusations were so specific, so detailed, that Tiny couldn't brush them off as mere rumors. Shekinah wasn't just making baseless claims, she was exposing something that had been buried for years. The weight of it all felt crushing, suffocating. The crowd was in chaos. Tiny's mind raced as Shekinah's words echoed in her ears, louder than anything else. Betrayal, greed, lies. Her family, her closest relationships, exposed for the world to see. For a moment, Tiny could barely process what had been said. The weight of the crowd's gaze felt suffocating. But in that moment, Tiny knew she couldn't back down. Not now. Not when everything she had built was on the line. Tiny stood up, trembling, as the defense attorney motioned for her to take the stand. She wasn't sure what would come next, but one thing was clear. This wasn't just a personal betrayal. It was the unraveling of everything she had fought for. The truth was out, and Tiny was about to face the consequences of a lifetime of secrets. Was Shay about to reveal the darkest secrets of Tiny's family in court? The moment that stunned the world has arrived. Inside a courtroom charged with tension, Shekinah stands up and brings to light a hidden side of Tiny's family that no one saw coming. Could everything we thought we knew about Tiny's life be a facade? Could the people closest to her be hiding secrets so large that they could tear her world apart? Tiny, once seen as the epitome of strength and success, now finds herself caught in a storm of betrayal, heartbreak, and scandal. What began as a personal betrayal has now escalated into something far deeper. Tiny's once tight-knit family seems to be unraveling. The truth, much uglier than anyone expected, is being exposed in front of millions. But why did Shekinah decide to reveal these secrets now? Was it a desperate cry for attention, or was there something much darker behind it all? The courtroom is in chaos, and the world is watching. The truth is about to come out, and it's not going to be easy. The courtroom is packed. The tension is thick in the air. Tiny, sitting on one side, appears calm, her back straight and her face stoic. But her eyes tell a different story. They reveal the storm brewing inside her. Her mind races, her heartbeat is loud in her ears, and she's trying to keep it together. Across the room, Shekinah sits calm and composed, her posture relaxed, but her eyes cold, filled with something dangerous. The two women, once close as family, are now on opposite sides of a battle that's about to change their lives forever. Tiny never saw this coming. She had always considered Shekinah family. They had been through everything together: laughter, hardships, trust. But now, that bond feels fragile, ready to snap. Tiny had tried to ignore the rumors, the whispers about what was happening behind the scenes. The tabloids had exploded with vague accusations, suggesting something big was going on. Tiny brushed it off, telling herself it was just gossip. But today, in this courtroom, she knew the truth was coming for her. Shekinah had chosen this moment to reveal what had been hidden for years, and Tiny wasn't prepared for what was about to unfold. Tiny froze. Her world seemed to tilt beneath her feet. She had no idea what the prosecutor was talking about. Could this be another manipulation by Shekinah, or was this something else entirely? Had her sister really been making deals behind her back, with people Tiny didn't even know? I don't know about that, Tiny stammered, struggling to keep her composure. I had no idea any of this was going on. The prosecutor pressed on. Tiny, this evidence isn't just a misunderstanding. These financial transactions have your sister's name on them, and it's clear that they've been happening under your nose. How do you explain that? Tiny's throat tightened. How could she explain something she didn't understand? How could she defend her family when she didn't have all the answers? I don't know, Tiny whispered, her voice barely audible. I didn't know any of this was happening. A murmur rippled through the courtroom. Tiny could feel her reputation, her entire life, slipping away. The betrayal was no longer just personal. It was public, for the whole world to see. Her heart was racing, and she could feel the weight of everything closing in on her. Tiny glanced once more at her sister. The woman who had always been her ally, her confidant, now felt like a stranger. The connection they had once shared was gone, replaced with coldness and distance. The prosecutor continued, sensing Tiny's vulnerability. This isn't just about family drama anymore. These connections with outside investors could expose something much bigger, something criminal. How do you explain that? Tiny was crushed. Her sister was involved in something much darker than she ever imagined. Tiny had never thought her family's name could be associated with corruption or deceit. It was too much to bear. The prosecutor's voice cut through her thoughts. This is not just a matter of family drama, Tiny. This could be fraud, and it's something that can no longer be ignored. The gravity of the situation hit Tiny like a ton of bricks. The courtroom fell into chaos as Tiny's mind reeled. She had no idea how deep the corruption ran, how much of it involved her family. The weight of everything was suffocating her. As the judge called for a recess, Tiny stood up shakily. She couldn't stay in the courtroom any longer. She needed to step away from it all. As she exited, she leaned against the hallway wall, gasping for air. Tears welled in her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. She wasn't going to give anyone the satisfaction of seeing her break. But deep inside, Tiny knew something she couldn't shake. The question that had been lurking in the back of her mind since Shekinah's testimony. Who was telling the truth? Was Shekinah seeking revenge? Or was Tiny's family really hiding these dark secrets? What would happen to Tiny now that her world was crumbling?